What we need to do here is let that cool down a fraction, but got a texture mark here. We need to cut that out. I'm not just going to cut it and leave square edges. I think it looks shit. It doesn't look OEM, so I'm going to hole saw the corners and then meet them. That cutout is for the clutch pedal mount. It mounts onto the fork where the master cylinder is, but it also mounts up underneath the steering top column mount. So many mounts. So I've marked that when it was sitting in there because there's a cutout from factory, obviously. I'm matching it. 25mm hole saw. So you want to come in 12.5mm, which is half of 25, because you've got your radius. It's 12.5mm. So the better you get these measurements, the nicer they are. I think that's 45mm by memory, so we'll go down to like whatever that is, 32.5. But yeah, if you get all your 12.5 there. If you get all your hole centers, where's my punch? If you get all your hole centers lined up initially, you won't have an issue when it comes to drilling it. There's no particular reason I used 25mm hole saw, it's just because I think it'll suit nicely. These are a pretty nice hole saw actually. They're just a Sutton, I think they're just like a sheet metal hole saw. They've got a spring, which normally works, but right now that I'm giving them a bit of credit, they don't work. A spring that pushes out the material, the waste material. So I'm going to do a cutout in here as well. This was actually the factory one, so it had a big cutout. It's probably not necessary, well, it's definitely not necessary. The reason I'm doing it is so I can coat, or it'll help me coat in there. I'll also probably be able to spot weld the whole thing together then as well. So a couple reasons, not a necessity, but yeah, just like doing things properly. Just had a thought, because there is actually material behind this that I'm welding it to, I would like the cutout to be the same. So while I've got my two holes here, I'm going to chuck this back on. It probably would have been alright, because it turns out that I've got enough room for my pilot drill, but So yes, that's getting a bit, hopefully you can hear me over that compressor, but once again, not a necessity, but adds to the quality of the build. So this is what we've come up with. Pretty happy. Obviously just clear coat in there at the moment. Looks, other than the raw metal, rather factory. Got my bolt holes there. I've tigged in nuts in the backside of that. And that's the bottom cutout there. I'll show you in a bit, but yeah. I'm sort of just getting pedals in. Now this is the whole reason why I've used a GQ floor paned firewall. When it goes to fitting up, when it comes to spare parts, I've got everything from a GQ that still gets produced. You know, even seals and stuff like that. It's all master cylinders, everything's still being produced, and it's from a reliable, common four-wheel drive. So it probably seems like a long way of going about it, but I believe it's going to be a far superior build to something like putting a G60 straight onto a GQ or GU chassis, where things don't line up. You have sacrifices, but yeah, like it doesn't come without a cost. Like the time and the hours involved in this is just absolutely ridiculous. So it would have been a lot easier to slap a body and stuff around with body mounts, and that's about it. But yeah, I think this will feel like a factory car. The ultimate patrol. So I just fully welded this too. I think is what I'll do. I'm just refitting it, but I think come final fit up, I'll actually cut a piece of 3mm rubber to fit there, and then slide that over with a relatively like an undersized hole cut out for this section here. And then I'll push it over, and then that'll all get clamped together onto the side of the firewall. So that might work, but it's not an issue. It's not something I need to resolve now. My main concern for doing this part is so I just fully welded this too. I think is what I'll do. I'm just refitting it, but I think come final fit up, I'll actually cut a piece of 3mm rubber to fit there, and then slide that over with a relatively like an undersized hole cut out for this section here. And then I'll push it over, and then that'll all get clamped together onto the side of the firewall. So that might work, but it's not an issue. It's not something I need to resolve now. My main concern for doing this part is so I final fit the front windshield panel with the A-pillars sections, like the skins. I want to make sure that I don't need to spot weld anything into that front scuttle cavity. I don't want to have to, because I can't, when that's all spot welded with, you know, probably 100 spot welds right around the A-pillars and across the top, I don't want to have to, well, it's not an option, simply not an option to undo that, because I need to rust proof something because I've welded into that cavity. So I'm just making sure every single base is covered. I'm going to have my dash mounted. Dash won't be finished, but it'll be mounted. So I've got all my holes, all my bolts, all my locatings, like whatever. I just don't want to weld onto that cavity. Lower firewall's fine because that's just a skin. It doesn't have a cavity in it like the top section. things I still need to consider, or necessities, is at minimum a demister. I'm not going to use the factory air conditioning, but I probably will put aircon in it, but I'll probably get an aftermarket unit purely because I don't need all the functions from factory, and they're all bulky. You can get much smaller units that do less, but will still make it comfortable. And well, number one is you need demisters. You can't have a car on the road without demisters, as far as I'm aware. So yeah, like I said, I'm just going to fit this up, slap it back in. I'm going to fit my clutch pedal, sit in the seat, make sure it's not going to be a luxe, lay back and cruise the road. Like, it's going to feel like an old car, and that's exactly what I want. So, you know, it might not be as comfortable sitting. You might be a little bit, well, let's put this in and we'll have a look. Good clearance for steering wheel. This is like, geez, these seats are good. Seating position's pretty comfortable. Like, if I was to be, like, it's not that bad really. Like, I could easily, where's my lever? Like, I could comfortably drive like this. Comfortably drive like this. This will obviously be extended back, but not a problem at all. I reckon I'll probably lift the seat a fraction. It doesn't need it, but I think just because it gives you that old car feel that you're stupidly huge in it. This is much more comfortable than a factory G60, I'll give you the hot tip. Might try and do, yeah, no, it's pretty happy with seating position. These Shillmans are quite large in the depth of them, like from here to the back. So it was a little bit of a gamble. Not that I've actually made the full purchase of them yet, but yeah, this is going to be sick. Very happy with productivity, very happy with progress in the last couple months. To have something looking like this now, it's bloody good motivation. So yeah, once again, thanks for tuning in. We're sort of getting to the exciting parts now where the car's starting to look like a car. So very happy. Obviously, moving forward in more ways than one. I'm pretty happy with where I'm at with the dash at the moment. I will do some research behind the scenes on aircon, heater, aircon and demister. Demisters, like I've said, demister is the critical one, but if I can get an all-in-one, I will. I have the compressor and condenser and the lines, so anything engine side is all accounted for already. And I think most of that will be mounted to the lower section of firewall, not into this cavity like I've been saying. I don't want to go too late into there and screw up my rust proofing, my panel sealing. But yeah, back to what I was saying. Moving forward, if I take the plunge and put this on and get my A-pillar skins, I need a few mounting like nutserts or nuts in here for my quarters. And then I've sort of been doing work on my quarters, bits and pieces as I'm going, just to mix things up. So then I can start moving forward with that. I'll need to put some structure in here and alter this to get some strength in it. I want to be able to sit on this quarter or stand on it. I don't want it to be a flimsy panel, so I want it to be solid. And then once we've got a quarter on, or like the front, not so much worried about bonnet. Bonnet's a piece of piss. But both front quarters and the front center grille piece, once they're on, then we can start to work out what I'm going to do about the wheel coverage. I've had things in my mind for a long time, because it's obvious, like GU diffs aren't meant to sit under a G60 Patrol, so they're wider than GQ again. So it's always been an issue that I think I have nutted out in my head. It's just a matter of what it actually looks like with clearances, big tyres, etc, etc. This is a four-wheel drive. I'm going to use it as a four-wheel drive. So I need flex. I want up travel. That may be limited. So yeah, it's coming together, people. And I'm very happy with where I'm at. So yeah, thanks for tuning in. Comment below, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family. Yeah, the more support we can get to this channel, the better. I'd love to do this as a full-time gig, not just building vehicles, but you know, have the flexibility to go on trips and bring more content. So yeah, thanks again. See you on the next one.